thoughts on Visions of Mana. I know it's a bit late to talk about this because it's something that happened several days ago. And if I do a clip for my second channel, it's gonna be outdated information already. It's gonna be like, oh, you're uploading this now? This happened like 2 weeks ago. But I have to, right? Just like Stellar Blade. I don't know if you guys know, but the producer of Visions of Mana refused to wokenize their game. So he said no, he refused to change it or to alter it for Western audiences. He gave the world a middle finger. Wow, man, I just wish more developers were like this. More artists, not just developers. Artists worldwide. I wish this mentality came back. Like, be true to yourself, create the game that you want, and respect your own creative vision, and don't alter just to please minorities. Oh my god. In adding his voice to the ever-growing chorus of Japanese creatives who are refusing to compromise their artistic endeavors for Western sensibilities, Square Enix's Mana series producer Masaru Oyamada has declared that rather than bringing in new fans by changing the action RPG line's core identity, he hopes to do so by celebrating those elements which have made it popular in Japan for a long time. Thank you! I know, Masaru Oyamada, you're not watching this video, but wherever you are, thank you very fucking much for standing your ground, standing up against this woke fucking horseshit. Thank you, man. He says, Oyamada, who has served in his position ever since the 2009 port of Secrets of Mana. What an asshole. I mean, dude, it's not called Secrets of Mana, it's Secret of Mana. His disinterest in chasing a wider audience during a March 2024 interview with video games news website Automaton. Amidst a larger discussion of the creative direction he and his team will be taking with the upcoming Visions of Mana, Oyamada was at one point pressed by the outlet as to whether or not he had seen a difference in the reactions to the announcement of the series' next entry between Japanese and overseas players. He says in Japan there are many people who have been playing the series for a long time and are familiar with the IP's history, so the reaction has been half expectant and half anxious, the producer told the outlet. On the contrary, overseas players showed a lot of curiosity about the game and what it entails, including if it will be available on the platforms that they own. That's something different. Nothing to do with the topic. The difference between the reactions is somewhat interesting. Okay, sure. And then Oyamada was asked if he had any plans as to how you'd like the Mana series to reach out to Western gamers in the future. I hate the fact that they generalize things. Not every fucking Western gamer is woke and wants things altered and censored and changed. Okay? Stop putting us in the same fucking hole together. Okay? Speak for yourselves. Generalizing, oh, we need to care about Western gamers. Western gamers, there's a lot of them. Okay? We are from different mindsets and perspectives. Oh no, according to some journalists, all Western gamers are fucking woke. To which he asserted, I get the feeling that many people who picked up Secret of Mana at the time it came out, they were young, like I was, because I regularly receive feedback from people who play the latest entries through the lens of their childhood experiences with the series. So out of respect for nostalgia, he's not gonna change anything. I hope that as they grow older and become parents, they will recommend the Mana series to their children and then tell them about how fun it is. And it goes on from there. Okay? So the point is the same. Okay? He refuses to change. But remember when I said, however, this is a game published by Square Enix, one of the wokest, most far-left companies in Japan nowadays. Square Enix. I have no clue what's gonna happen in there. Because I don't think this producer this producer knows what he's doing or who he's really facing. I mean, he wants to go out there and tell the United States of woke America to fuck off. He can do that, I do that all the time. But giving that same middle finger to the publisher, to Square Enix, that's gonna be interesting. So I'm happy that this producer said those things, came forward, stood his ground, and refused to change the series just for the sake of a woke audiences, but it's still going to be published by a company that is like that. So I don't think, what I'm trying to say is that I don't think Square Enix is going to let him get away with this, and we will probably, when the game gets localized, translated, some things might change. It's Square Enix of America after all, so I don't know what's gonna happen there. Thank you, producer Oyamada, for saying this, but I wish you a lot of luck, because you're gonna need it. I don't know how this guy's gonna fight his own the company he works for, and have them respect his creative vision. I have no idea how he's gonna do that, but if he pulls that off, wow, that's gonna be a lifetime achievement, and I don't think he's gonna be aware of that. Just like the developers of Stellar Blade, man. We need more developers like this. I know some companies have gone off the rails so bad that they're never gonna come back to respect their own creative vision, like Atlus, Sega, Ryogo Gataku Studio. You know, kneeling before this cancel culture bullshit. You know, but I'm so glad to see, I'm so happy to see other companies giving them the middle finger. Like saying, no, I'm not gonna change anything, my game stays the way it is, and fuck off. You don't like it, fuck off. Don't play it. How much importance do you give to voice acting? Like, would you mind if there wasn't any in gaming, or would you miss it? Well, nowadays, voice acting in English is extremely, you know, liberal and inclusive, and that kind of pisses me off. There was a controversy about Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. But I played the first Like a Dragon from like 4 years ago in Japanese, because it just felt weird seeing these types of characters talking in English for some reason, so I changed to Japanese and it was much better. I thought the Japanese dub in Like a Dragon was more accurate, more loyal to its original source. It is the native language after all, so that's what I did. And because the characters look realistic and they actually look Japanese, you know, I just felt it was better to watch them speaking in Japanese in their native language rather than be translated. So I did the same with Infinite Wealth, and I didn't know anything about the voice acting in English, and apparently there was some controversy that I don't even want to get into. And I was like, man, that was pretty damn bad. I'm so glad I played the game in Japanese. So nowadays, it depends on the game. I do give it a lot of importance nowadays because it's almost impossible to find a single video game. Indie games aside, you know, like AA, like normal companies, AA, AAA games, you know, it's really hard to find something that isn't dubbed in English, right? It's since the PlayStation 3 era, almost every single JRPG has had voice acting in English. So I do give a lot of importance to it. I don't talk about that often in my videos, but I've mentioned it before in several videos, in several reviews in the past. So I want to start mentioning it. Fuck that word. Talking about it more often in my videos, and I'll probably just criticize it because it is like that. It's getting out of hand. Some actors, even though they are like inclusive, they still do a pretty good job. Like Persona 3 Reload, I was extremely worried, and man, most of the actors fucking nailed it. I was like, man, sure, most of them were kind of like trying to imitate the original actors. Like this Allegra Clark, you know, sounded way too similar to Tara Platt voicing Mitsuru. And at the beginning I was like confused. I was like, wow, Tara Platt came back to voice Mitsuru. But then I found out, no, it was this other actress. And I was like, okay, so they changed it for someone inclusive, right? But inclusive or not, she still fucking nailed it, right? So, it's become a pretty divisive topic for me personally. Like, I struggle with it. Like, I'm like, for every next game, like right now I'm playing A Plague Tale Requiem, and I don't know if the English dub was inclusive or not. I don't even want to know. I know the two leads, the girl who plays Amicia, in English, I forget the actress's name. Well, I know who she is, right? But I'm playing the game in French, because the game takes place in France, and I know that the lip sync is even in the first game is supposed to match like the English dub, you know. But I feel much better playing these games. It's just these games are like a little bit more on the realistic side of things, realistic graphics and 3D models. You know, I kind of like to play those games in their original language with English subtitles, and that's what I did with the first game, and I'm doing that again with this second game, playing it in French. And I don't know why it feels better. It feels more true to the game's vision, I guess. I know the game's vision was supposed to be in English, but the developers are French. This is a French studio. The games take place in France. The characters are French. They have French names. So I'm playing it on French, right? But yeah, one of the reasons why I changed to French, the main reason was that. Okay, but the second reason is because I was worried about the English dub and I didn't want to deal with it. So that I hope that answers your question. You know, I do give a lot of importance nowadays to voice acting because it's kind of like that. I feel like I'm supporting this woke mentality that's just ruining the industry. There's a segment in the latest Yakuza, Infinite Wealth, where the friends spend 10 minutes judging Ichiban for being sexist and telling him how bad it is. Maybe this is a joke or maybe not a joke. I don't know much about that. I watched that scene and I read an article that talked about that scene. But it's a pretty confusing scene, man. And I'm gonna tell you why. If you're talking about the scene near the beginning of the game, it's not a spoiler. You know, it happens during the first hours. That Ichiban tries to date and marry Saeko. Well, first and foremost, you're talking about that scene, and then Nanba has a talk with him saying, no, you did things wrong, and highlights the part of Saeko being a strong and independent woman, running her own business. But that's how she is. That's also how she was in the first game. I mean, that's just the character. I don't know. And then I read in the article that people just went off the rails, calling the game woke and blah 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 and censored, and I'm like, well, you go to Hawaii and almost every single girl on the beach is hot as fuck and has a sexy bikini, and even Sonhee, the Korean mafia girl, she's wearing the shortest skirt I've ever seen in my life. Sure, she's kind of censored if you try to look her skirt. Down there, you know, there's just blackness like Tifa from Final Fantasy VII Remake. But, I mean, you see her? Here's my problem with, not my problem, here's what I want to say about Infinite Wealth. It's just such a weird game that I think the developers didn't make things clear for anybody. You know, some games are like, okay, that's just fucking woke, and that's objectively woke, right? That's it. I mean, it's too fucking obvious. And there are others like Infinite World, like you can't tell, like they disguised a little bit about it, and then they confuse you, right? Like, why would you go on and make a statement about like women being independent and blah, and Ichiban being sexist and whatnot, and then he goes to Hawaii and all the girls are dressed up in these sexy bikinis and have incredible bodies, every single one of them. I didn't see a single fat girl in there, or an old woman in there, or regular swimsuits for girls. No, every girl had a fucking bikini. And Sonhee, you know, has this mini skirt that's pretty much a micro skirt, right? And that's fine. Infinite Will is such a confusing game. I think they made the game and waited to see with how much they could get away with. And some things they got away with and others just didn't. I think that's what I believe about the Infinite Wealth. It's a weird game. And let's be honest, that scene with Ichiban and Namba at the bar, and Namba telling him, hey, you totally missed the point with Saeko. She's an independent woman, and I don't know, man. I don't feel that to be that woke. To be honest, there was something worse, far worse, that happened with the English dub. But I don't know, because I played the game in Japanese, the entire game. Didn't even bother with the English dub, not even for 5 minutes, right? Because I didn't care for it. Okay, but I read that there were apparently some girls voicing some guys in English. I don't know about that though. I read that, and that's fucking woke. That's not even woke, that's just fucking ridiculous. Straight up ridiculous, right? Woke at its worst, in my opinion, if that's true. But I don't know about that because I play the game in Japanese. You know, but going back to the sexism example, it's so confusing, right? I just don't understand. I don't know. I don't know if I should say, oh, this game is woke. No, but it's just... You see what I mean, right? I mean, yeah. It's confusing. Well, that's my argument. I'm not trying to defend it. You guys know I fucking hate politics and political agendas and woke shit, you know? But, I mean, why would you... I'm just repeating myself. Which is why would you make an argument, a statement about an independent woman and have all these girls then in bikini in Hawaii and Sonji with the shortest skirt ever? I don't get it. Anyway, there was a scene between man and woman on a bench in Japan. Okay. There was a scene between a man and a woman on a bench. You mean the Japanese version? But in the English version, the man is voiced by a woman. And that scene is just a couple of NPCs? That was a big deal? I mean, I will be very pissed off, you know, if a girl voiced a guy or the other way around. You know, it's happened before, but it's kind of justified. Okay, Valkyrie Profile was kind of like, I don't understand what the fuck, man. Many of you don't know, and I talked about this in my... This video was from like 5 years ago, okay? There's a video I did called 10 Things You Didn't Know About Valkyrie Profile. And there was a segment where I talked about a specific voice actor who played Arngrim. And this actor, I'm not gonna say much about it because he died, but he was, I think it was a transgender. Okay, he still voiced Arngrim, right? So even back then it was kind of like, okay, but it's different because this is someone voicing a main character. But if you're talking about a girl voicing a random NPC for like 2 seconds, so you see what I mean? I'm not trying to defend Ryo ga Gotoku, the studio, and Masayoshi, that's the producer, the creator of the series, right? The Yakuza series. I know there was an interview where he kind of like shot himself in the knee, in the shoe, like pretty much saying like, oh, we're not being censored by Sega of America. We're auto-censoring ourselves. Yeah, we're pretty much censoring ourselves from the beginning. You know, yeah, I kind of lost a little respect out there for him, to be honest. But my point is that I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just so confused by Infinite Wealth. But the way I see it is that he, the director and the producer and these guys were kind of like trying to see how much they could get away with that game. They knew it was going to be huge. They knew it was going to be attacked by this new AAA bullshit rules and politics, you know? But I don't feel like somehow they got away with it fine. In Infinite Wealth, such duality is everywhere. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, man. Duality. It's kind of weird. Like, for example, they removed hostesses but added strip clubs. See what I mean? It's kind of like, what? I'm telling you, man, you know, don't be too harsh on Infinite Wealth. It's just... That's how I see the game. I'm just repeating myself now. Sega should stop pandering to those DEI investors. It's always about the money, right? If that's where the money, if the left is where the money is at, then a lot of companies are going to go to the left. Like Square Enix, fucking hypocrites, man. I don't even believe they believe these, they have these progressive ideals. I don't think so. They're just a bunch of fucking hypocrites. And since progressiveness is trending and has been controlling the entertainment business, that's the direction they went to. Fucking hypocrisy, man. Hypocrisy, I'm telling you. Anyway, I miss that you cannot say what you want on YouTube. I really enjoy your rage quit cursing videos. You know, if millions of people will just unite and protest outside of every Google office worldwide to bring back free speech, you know what they should do? If they don't want us using language, foul language, you know, because kids may be watching, then there's an option to put an age restriction to the videos. I have no problem with that. In fact, age restrictions and age-restricted videos are more appealing. People are like, oh, this one has an age restriction. Like, they're intriguing, right? Like, oh, why? Oh my god, why, right? I mean, yeah. But guess what? Since ages ago, YouTube does not let you monetize age-restricted videos. That's the fucking problem. It's so simple to solve, and they don't want to do that. Like, you want to put me an age restriction to my entire channel if you want to? Do it. But still, let me monetize my videos. Let the companies advertise their products or whatever the fuck they want on my videos. But no, you get an age restriction, goodbye monetization. Yeah. So yeah, I miss it too, man. I miss those good old times where we could just express ourselves with no filters whatsoever and say what we want. And no, everything is extremely offensive. My face is offensive to a lot of people out there.